All right, guys, thank you for joining us tonight. So, tonight's guest is Lucky Dame Preparedness. A lot of you know who she is, and some of you might not know who she is, but this is her in a roundabout ways. And she'll explain to you why she does this. But before that, guys, I've actually watched a couple of videos, and it was recently. Yeah, I watched it recently, and I like what I see and I like what I hear. So again, liking what I see, liking what I hear, being that she is not crazy or like the couple of other prepper channels I've recently watched where I was like, I was about to invite him and I was like, holy shit, this dude's out of his fucking mind. This is not the case. Anyway, ma'am, do me a favor and introduce yourself to everyone here.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Lucky from Lucky Dame Preparedness. I guess I'll start by saying there's a doll on your screen because I just don't turn my camera on, not because I'm afraid to be on camera, but because I just prefer to have privacy, like a lot of folks here on the internet. And so I started using doll pictures, Barbie dolls, and just different dolls. And people who are subbed to my channel and who listen to me kind of got a kick out of it. And so it just kind of became a thing. And I've got like well over 300 different pictures of dolls. So every time I'm live, every time I'm anywhere on anyone else's channel, usually it's a different doll. So no, I don't own them all. It's just pictures. But yeah, so I'm in Central Texas. I live here in Central Texas with my husband, a dog, a couple of chickens, and yeah, I mean, I'll keep talking depending on how much you want to know. Angry, you let me know.
Listen, this is your show, man. I'm just a
Uh
guest.
oh.
Uh,
Uh oh. Yeah, I don't know about that.
yeah, so yeah, you talk as much as you want. It doesn't bother me. But dolls, yes. Clowns, no. Someone said dolls, yes. Clowns, no. Yes, clowns are weird.
Yeah, no clowns are weird. Yeah, no clowns. We don't do that.
Very good. So, basic questions first. What got you into preparedness?
Hmm. Okay, so some of the folks that list my channel know this story. So if they're here, I can't see the chat right off. Y'all just go ahead and tune it out because you've heard this story before. But I got into preparedness back around 1998, 99, in time for Y2K, the biggest nothing burger that ever happened or didn't happen. I got into it originally. I was previously married to someone else, and kind of got into preparedness or was introduced to it through my now ex-husband, and I really got into it and he really kind of didn't. I was into it much more than he was, and of course Y2K turned out to be nothing. At the time, I really didn't think it was going to be anything. It didn't really make a lot of sense to me, but preparedness in general did make sense. Um, I was used to my grandmother, my mom's mom was a Depression era kid, so I was used to being around her and for the rest of her life, and as I knew her from, up until she died a couple of years ago, that depression era mindset of save everything, reuse things, that kind of carried over for the rest of her life. So I was used to that. It made sense. And so when my ex and I parted ways, I just kind of stuck with it. And I've kind of been floating in and out of the online survival preparedness community for years now, ever since 98, 99. Um, but I just always kind of kept it with me. And I always felt like it was going to be, I guess everyone has a different flavor or different thoughts of what's going to happen, or what could happen. For me, it was always what I thought would be the most likely event would be some sort of an economic collapse. And lo and behold, here we are, looking down the barrel at something. And so, yeah, that's kind of how I got into it, was actually through an ex, and just kind of took off with it from there. It just made sense and something I always kind of did.
Well, listen, I did the whole
Mhm.
Y2K thing too.
Yeah.
Preparing for it, and that was what my ex-wife, that fucking scumbag. Anyway, um, don't want to get into that. But I
That's
remember I mean, we went to war, like, and she was actually in on it, and yeah, we got carried away, and then nothing happened, and we had about 6 months of food. We actually had almost a year. We wind up giving away probably 3, 4 months of that stuff to our neighbor upstairs and the neighbor down the hall, and we still winded up eating 6 months of food over the next 6 months. Probably a little less than that, maybe 5. But still, um, I didn't. It didn't dawn on me that I was preparing. I was, I guess, just getting ready, or building an insurance.
Yeah,
So that if something happened, we were good, and we were. I mean, and we did all low grade shit. Anything that could be done
yeah,
with hot water, and this was before the internet was like, booming like it is now. So I had to do a lot of
right,
research, on the internet, but it was like it was so little on there, so little available. So I tried my best, and then I realized, all right, this shit's not going to happen. And years later, I started preparing again because I'm like, look where we are now. I mean, my
right.
catalyst for it was an EMP, but look where we are now. So with that being said, um, what are you prepared for? What are you? No, sorry. What do you think would be the catalyst for the apocalypse or whatever's coming our way?
Oh, man. What would be the catalyst for the apocalypse? Well, and I kinda said this backstage, what at the risk of sounding nitpicky, what are you calling how are you defining apocalypse?
Societal
Because
collapse.
I think a societal apocalypse,
Yeah.
like society just implode and
Hmm.
we're running around like Mad Max and shit like that.
Right.
Oh, I think there would have to be obviously, there would have to be a massive collapse of some sort. Man. Okay, so if we wanna go down that road, I mean, what could cause a societal collapse? We could have and we talking just in the US? Are we talking worldwide? Like everything is
Just in general, just something that fucks the entire planet.
yeah,
Like a
oh, well, yeah, nuclear would do that, for sure. That's what seems to be everyone's big fears. I see a lot of that lately, with all this stuff with Russia and people saying, "Oh, people are afraid we're gonna go nuclear." I don't know that that will happen. I don't think it's off the table, but I think it's low on the totem pole, so to speak, low on the list of possibilities in my opinion. Um, but yeah, that definitely would, because that would just destroy frickin' everything. There would be no more government, there would be no anything. Um, EMP, I think EMP is more likely it's higher up on the list, definitely than full on like nuclear war or something like that. Yeah, EMP would definitely throw the country, the US into or any country into disarray.
okay,
Um, a war in general, something like on the scale of, say, World War II, something like that, any kind of war, not necessarily. I don't think that's going to throw a country or throw the world into chaos.
no,
I think things would be definitely become very difficult, but I don't see that as being any kind of, um, preceding any kind of collapse or anything like that, where we're all pretty much on our own. But something I mean, it would have to be in my mind, it'd have to be something massive. EMP even if it with an EMP, though, I'm thinking, if it's only targeted to the United States or to certain countries, it's not gonna be long before another country steps in to try to either, quote, unquote, "assist" or just outright take over?
right.
So, it would be I think that would be a temporary, possibly, or short-lived situation relatively. Yeah, I mean, I can envision just all sorts of things happening with EMP and another country coming in to, help out or
That,
assume the real estate that is the United States and,
well, interesting enough that you said that, as an article I think yesterday popped up about the likeliness of an EMP being used is now a lot higher than a nuclear war. And it's funny, I think it was on Google,
Mhm,
and it popped up, and I read it, and I'm like, interesting, because you know, it makes more sense to go nuclear than it does. Sorry, it makes more sense to go EMP than it does to go ground, or what you call a detonation. Because why destroy something you want, and that you wanted to conquer so badly?
exactly.
Um,
Yeah, exactly, and that is I've always said that, it's like, why when people get really people get very concerned, and I understand that, getting really concerned, "Oh my god, we're gonna go nuclear." No, I don't think so, because why would you just go scorched earth, literally, with a piece of real estate that you're trying to get, and I kind of waffle a little bit on the EMP just because EMP It has the potential to destroy all electronics and take down a lot of infrastructure, and that would be a big pain in the ass to have to rebuild infrastructure.
Right.
But you would then, you wouldn't have to deal with radiation, you know,
True.
and things like that. So I think that's a much more likely, and it could be, I don't want to say targeted, but at least regionally, maybe West Coast versus an East Coast, EMP. You wouldn't necessarily have to, I mean, you wouldn't have to take down the entirety of the US if you could target a certain region or an area of the United States and get a foothold. That's a thought as well.
Right. Well,
You've been
you know,
talking nuclear for 5 minutes.
well, I
Yeah.
think as far as nuclear goes, I'm not worried about it. And listen,
No.
we all keep it in the back of our head. I think every last one of us, even though we're like, I'm not worried about it, it's in the back of your head. Just like when you get in your car and you drive down the road, you're not thinking of getting into an accident, but it's in the back of your head. If an accident happens, what can I do? What
Right.
So I think that's the premise of the whole thing. Like with preppers, like I'm not sitting here thinking, "Oh my God, is New York going to start glowing in the dark?" I can care less until until it
Probably.
happens. I mean, at this point, I'm not sitting there thinking, "Holy shit, am I going to?" No, if it does, it does, and if it doesn't, it doesn't. We have a lot of other problems to consider. I
Yeah, there's other things that are higher up on the list of concerns, in my opinion. I don't That's why I was saying I don't think nuclear, I mean, it's not something I'm saying, "Oh, that'll never ever." I think it's pretty low on the list of things that, or possibilities, in my opinion, that could happen. I'm not saying it's off the table entirely because, I mean, who knows if somebody gets a wild hair up their ass, what's gonna happen,
right,
you know? Anything can happen. And, I mean, when it comes to nuclear, I mean, I've seen people ask, "How do you prepare for that?" I mean, that's a hard one to prepare for. That's a tough one, you know? It's like here where we are in Texas, we don't have basements, so there's no bunker that we could crawl into or anything like that. We just have to hope that nothing hit near where we live, and then the fallout didn't come across, anything like that.
right. Well,
So,
like you just said, there's too many variables. With nuclear. I mean, like, where's it going to hit? How
right,
close is it going to hit? How bad's the
right,
fallout? If they hit one area of the United States multiple times, how much of that fallout are we going to get? So, like,
right.
you try to get prepared as best as you can, but
Yep.
that's all we can do.
Yeah. You can't dwell on stuff like, "Oh my God, we're gonna," no, just don't go down that path. Just prepare as best you can, and and if that's what you think is going to happen, if that's the top of your list of what you think the probabilities are, of shit happening, or that's going to be your apocalypse, then I hope you have a bunker and you got the filters and you got all the good stuff, and you know you'll be one of a few left if it happens.
Which I found interesting. The wife and I watched a TV show. I'm sorry, a movie yesterday called "I Think We're Alone Now," and
Oh yeah, I've seen that.
you saw it, right?
Yeah, yeah.
All right. So remember a couple of times I said for society to change, there would have to be a cataclysmic event. And they had that
Hmm.
cataclysmic event happen to them, and they changed society in controlling their, what was it, their emotions. And
Hmm.
that to me just translated what Catskill Pepper said a couple minutes ago about the digital banking system actually becoming or become going into use. Sorry, and I think that something cataclysmic has to happen for not society to, well, society would collapse, but I don't think they would let it collapse completely because again, the
No,
whole game is control. They want control,
exactly.
right?
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't. Yeah, same. I don't think there's going to be anything, if it can be at all helped or controlled. You know, there's not gonna be a complete collapse, because they don't wanna lose control of the people, of the populace, because how do you regain it? Oh,
Right.
that's a big pain in the ass, you know?
So they're tiptoeing around this social collapse thing, you know. And I
Yeah,
think that makes more sense, but they're always curveballs. That's the one thing about life. It doesn't care how in charge or how in control these people think they are. There's always curveballs, and you can only account for so many until one surprises you. And I think that. they're definitely going to have a problem with a lot of us who think for ourselves. And that's why, the whole, what the hell was that? Again, that thing I was talking about with the psychological inoculation, which is AKA brain control, they're going to start using more. And if they can't get
Yeah.
us in line, they're going to get us to turn against one another at some point.
I have to wonder, so with controlling society, if we want to talk about that, you know, I, I have to think as I've gotten older and as I've kind of gone along in preparedness, some stuff, when I first got into it, I was like, okay, whatever. These people are crazy. You're little nuts. I'm not like you. Well, now I'm like them. I
Right.
see stuff, and I used to talk to folks on some of the very few survival forums because it wasn't called preparedness initially; it was survival. Back in the Y2K stuff. And people would talk about on the different forums and bulletin boards about, they're targeting the kids, indoctrinating the kids, teaching the kids how to act. And at the time I thought, no, no, no. And now I'm looking at them like, oh, hell yeah, they are. And so kind of going along that, I don't know that I have to wonder if we will see anything in our lifetime, if there will be any kind of actual conflict in our lifetime, or if it'll be minor skirmishes and things like that. And, really the real focus is teaching kids starting at that very young age in school, basically to be controlled and to accept it. And this is normal. This is the normal. And this is how you behave. And this is how you act. And this is how you think. And you accept um, digital currencies. It's great. It's wonderful, right? Sharing with everybody is wonderful.
Right.
Capitalism sucks. All this kind of bullshit that we're kind of railing against right now. It's being taught to kids,
Yeah.
at a very early age in public schools. You know,
Yes. And the whole, you know, you work hard, the next guy next to you doesn't work hard, but he still gets to share in the fruits of your labor. That kind of thinking is what's actually killing America, because I think everybody is going down that road of, I guess, a socialistic ideology.
hmm
Because again, the prepper community, there are communities out there that have the socialistic ideology of, all
Oh,
right,
hell yeah.
right? They're like, all right, guys, we're all gonna prep for for whatever comes. And then when that moment comes, they're like, all right, guys, we're gonna take all our food and we're gonna put it into one building, and then we'll dole it out from there. And I'm like, that's a bad fucking idea. I sat here, the guy next to me, both of us sat here, and we had 5 years worth of food each. Now we're
hmm
gonna take our 5 years worth of food, put it in your building,
And feed everybody else with
and
it.
feed everybody else who put in
Yeah.
a year or two worth of shit. In some cases, maybe one other guy has 10 years worth of shit. So now he loses all his shit and goes into one place. And I'm like, I was out on that fucking idea. I'm like, no fucking way. Whoever saves for what they save, that's it. We're not going to sit there and put it all in one building and then turn around and start doling it out. Now, my 5 years of hard work is gone because the slackers sat there and slowly prepped and only got a year or two worth of shit. So, I would never in a million years do that.
Oh,
But
well,
go ahead. Go ahead.
since 2020, that means that you're now a hoarder. You're so mean and cruel and terrible. You're you're a fucking hoarder now since you won't share with other people. How dare you?
Yeah,
I mean
that,
it very tongue in cheek because it's like I know exactly. If anybody doesn't believe that there's this going on in preparedness community, go over to Reddit, which is the first problem. Don't go to Reddit, but go to Reddit. There's some fucking prepping subs over there. That is the weirdest. I don't want to say liberal, but it's like liberal, socialist, communist, something corner of the preparedness internet I've ever seen in my life.
yeah, they're,
You
they're
know,
a strange bunch. And
It-
the problem is,
it's yeah, and it's weird.
the problem with Reddit is a bunch of rejects that
Yeah,
got turned down on prom dates and dates alone, picked on high school. So now they're
it's
all
a bunch of bots too. It's a lot of bots, a lot of
yeah,
China bots, a lot of AI, a whole hell of a lot of AI
yep,
over there that people don't
yeah.
realize.
It's a terrible
Yeah,
fucking place to be.
yeah,
Everybody over there is a fucking the keyboard warrior times 1,000. Everybody's a tough
yeah,
guy. Are
yeah.
you fucking kidding me? Like, I mean, the gun community on Reddit and the knife community on Reddit. I thought were the only two bunch of assholes, but it seems like every community on
No.
yeah, everybody on Reddit's a dick. I'm like, why? You know, it's like you
Yeah.
sit there and you put a picture up there. They're like even a photography community. What does that mean? Why don't you display your what you call it, the shots and how you took it where? I'm like, what the fuck, man? Like I just was just putting it.
Everyone jumps down your throat, and I'm like, "What the hell is your problem?"
Yeah,
Yeah. No,
why?
when 2020, that crap started in 2020, right? I was sitting here, I had not started doing anything on my channel. I had, I created the account years ago. I didn't do anything with it. And I was sitting here and I was like, you know what? How can I try and help people? Because now all of a sudden everybody's like, oh crap, what do I do? We don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah,
So, and I had just found Reddit, so I wasn't familiar yet with how fucked up it was. So I go to Reddit when the forums or subs that had been created, and people are like, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? And there were a few people who were saying answering questions and okay, here's what get X, Y, and Z, X, Y, and Z, long-term stuff. Here's what you do. Go, go, And instead of people saying, okay, great, thanks, I got argued with. And I'm like, you just asked me a question. Why are you, if you already had the answer, why are you asking the question? It was like people were just looking to argue. And I'm like,
yeah,
I don't understand why you're here asking and saying, "Oh my god, I need help, I need help." Okay, great. I've been doing this for 20 plus years. Let me tell you, here's go get this, quick, go. No, why do I have to do this? Why can't I buy organic? And why can't I do why can't I store brown rice? I'm like, motherfucker, look,
yeah.
excuse me, but I'm like, what? Okay. I was like, I gotta go. I can't help these people. It was the weirdest thing.
Yeah, it is. And the Reddit community is just fucking. They're out of their mind. But again, it's
Yeah.
across all. Um, I guess all facets on there. I mean, it doesn't matter if it's a bodybuilding community. They're fucking arguing with each other about who has the bigger muscle and what protein shakes are the best. Photography is what camera and what lens to use. I'm like, my god, people, like just fucking, just give some advice on there because what people used to go to Reddit for, I don't think they go to Reddit for that anymore. I think they go to Reddit just to bitch and moan.
Yeah. I don't know what people ever went there for to begin with. I found it kind of late, I guess, and I'm okay with not going over there.
Oh yeah,
But I look at Reddit and I'm just like, man, that between that and Twitter and, it's kind of, pretty much all social media platforms just about. It's I don't know. So let me ask you, do you think, well, let's see, how do I wanna let me ask you a question. Do you think social media will factor in or in some way contribute to, I hate to say collapse, but have a hand in bringing things down in some way or turning people against each other?
yeah,
I mean, we were already at each other's throat a lot, but I
yeah.
mean,
Absolutely. I think that social media is piling on to the collapse, or at the very least, the social collapse. I mean, everybody who runs, sorry, everybody who owned social media, like all the owners, all the CEOs, their kids are not on social media because they know the poison that's hanging out on social media. So they know that a lot of the things that are said and done on social media can contribute to the collapse of at least the psychological at the psychological breakdown of a person. Because how many kids are on social media, or even adults, on social media and are killing themselves, or are on social media and not talking to their family anymore because they bought into the whole pronoun shit. Now they want their entire family to do, the play the pronoun game with them. How many people, because of social media, QAnon is specifically, fucking broke away from their family because their family didn't buy into their fucking crazy thinking. So social media is absolutely playing a role in the societal breakdown, but it's also psychologically breaking down a lot of people.
I would have to agree. I remember, in was it like I guess early 90s, mid 90s, probably more like mid 90s, when people were just starting to have more, having an internet connection in your home was becoming more common. More people were starting to have it. You had dial up and all that shit.
Hmm.
And people were going on, and it was still like new and novelty, and it seemed like, at least how I remember it, maybe I'm remembering, through rose-colored lenses here, people's anger's out of control. Yeah, it is. It is, Randy. Um, it was more of a novelty, and people were excited and happy and wanted to talk to other people, and it was fun and interesting, and it's just evolved over the last, what, 30 years,
Yeah.
30 plus years, and Yeah, I don't know. I see a lot of that, people just trolling and being divisive, and now with there being so many bots and basically a lot of propaganda and bullshit being spread out there, and a lot of bots and AI that are out there on across all social media platforms, where the purpose of them being there, and I know there's going to be some people saying you're talking tinfoil. No, I'm not. This is a real thing. They're out there to try and sway people and to push you into how you are supposed to be thinking to go along with the narrative.
Right,
That's what they're there for. So when you're in a forum and you think that there's some account or somebody saying things just to be a jerk or be an ass, they may be. It may be an actual human being a jerk or an ass, or it could very well just as likely be a bot, that's programmed to respond. The AI is programmed to respond a certain way based on certain words within a thread or within a topic.
right, yeah, and
So,
I don't know. It's what I found interesting. You're mentioning bots and
mhm.
Prepper Nurse One. By the way, guys, Prepper Nurse One is received another strike for a video he did a year and a half ago, and so he's out for a week. So this, I guess, that other strike he got, he had just cleared it, and then he got this one. So he's out for a week, and I told him I would announce it, or let you people know that he had another strike for bullshit too. It was true bullshit. But even he was talking about like bots and like the porn bots, for example. Which now that I said that, I'm 1,000% sure they're going to start popping up. But
Yeah.
they have it's insane because YouTube, again, this is coming from Prepper Nurse One. He goes, YouTube will give you a strike for saying something that's true, but they don't like it. But meanwhile, they let a lot of the subscribers bully, and even creators bully other creators and other subscribers. They let porn
Mhm.
bots of all kind run rampant on here when they can fix that problem. But instead, they turn their focus onto the creators and start giving them strikes and shit. Um, the
Yeah.
bot situation is now turning into an AI situation, like you were talking about. Um,
Mhm.
and I find it interesting that just I think it was a couple months ago now, might have been 2 months ago, there was an AI program that won an art award.
Wow.
Right. So imagine these idiots, and I think it was in Italy, they gave an award to a thing that doesn't exist. And not for nothing, but this picture was immaculate. But again, it was done by AI. So of course they could draw an immaculate picture. It was some shit that
Right.
like, I don't even think the human mind could comprehend. It was that nice, but again, that's dangerous shit right there that we're playing with. We're allowing this thing to start dictating to us what's art.
Yeah, because part of art, I mean, let me go off from it. I mean, part of what we love about art is it does have that human factor. It has emotion in it.
Right.
That's why we love music, because we identify with whatever emotion we relate to it in some way, and same with a painting or a piece of sculpture. We see that in it. It evokes emotion. So to give an award to something that isn't, I hope is not sentient. God help us. It's not, to a machine. Um, wow. That's. Did they ask the robot what pronouns it likes to use? I mean,
It's probably they and we
I,
because it's
us and them,
collectively they're all one and the same.
because it's bored.
Pinball. I didn't see that article, but I heard about that. So Pinball's talking about a story today on Twitter allowing child porn channels to stay up and I guess up and running. And what's her name? The cutie pie from Australia, Sydney Watson. Her. She did a what you call it on Patreon. This is another reason why I love Patreon. Patreon allows for the Patreon creator to sell nudie pictures of little people, kids, um,
Oh, wow.
right on there, and they advertise through way of Twitter. I saw that was like a week ago, week and a half ago. She did a video on that. Actually, she did a video almost a month ago. But anyway, my point is that uh, the societal breakdown that we are witnessing is out of control, and it's allowing for bad behavior to be good, right?
Or
So
it's trying to push it that way. I mean, there are a hell of a lot of people trying to paint bullshit as, "No, no, this is normal. This is how it's always been." It's like, what is this? I mean, Eurasia's always been at war with who? Hold on, this is sounding very 1984. No, it's how it's always been. This is fine. It's all fine.
right,
Oh my lord.
yeah, and that's dangerous, right? Because they're sitting there going,
Yeah.
"Well, listen, man, that's how they feel. They I was fucking looking for this. They feel that they have to be attracted to someone, well under their age. But they can't control that. They absolutely fucking control it.
You can control it with medication.
Yeah, you can control by clipping their nuts too. But again, you know, uh,
I didn't wanna quite go there yet, but yeah, that could
yeah,
that could I mean, it's not it's not normal. I my opinion, that is not normal. That is a mental health issue. That
you know
is
what
that's a
it is, and it,
I
it
mean, what are we gonna normalize next? I mean, sorry, I'm gonna go for this. It's like, what are we gonna normalize next? Sexual assault?
oh yeah, they
I
definitely
mean,
will at some
because
point.
that's where we're going down the road, and I mean, it's all fucked up.
And
Um, yeah, with all the crap that's been going on the last couple of years, I have to wonder, it's like, are we everything that's we've been aware of, it's not like, any of this is new. We've all kind of been aware of it, but it seems like everything is just coming out more and more and coming to a head more and more and more. Is it that we are becoming angrier and less tolerant, or, you know, over the last couple of years because everyone is so stressed and we see that things are, I hate to say going down the tubes, but, not going in a good direction for sure.
right,
And so everyone's pissed off about it, and it's like so everything's coming out, or I feel like I keep trying to I'm trying to assign reasonings, like, why are we acting the way we're acting, other than, it's been 2 years, 2.5 years, and we are pissed off, and it's getting worse, and, we're not gonna put up with this crap anymore, whereas before we might have said, "Oh, let's form a committee to look into this and start some charities and raise money and funds," and now it's like, "No, fuck this." We're you know
but here's the thing. I think the reason why we're like fuck this is because no one's answering the call, right? So when someone
Exactly.
answers the call, we can be easy and be like, all right. But the fact that we have politicians, we have uh, hospitals, doctors, psychiatrists, TV shows, movies, pandering to this psychologically damaged group of people, which are well under and you would think that the percentage of these people are high. Meanwhile, it's like somewhere between 5 to 10%, which is it's pretty big, but nonetheless, we are changing the dynamics of our country for people,
For a very small
yes, who
portion of
are
society, a very small demographic, you
and
know?
who are psychologically sick. Something's wrong with them. So instead of saying, "Listen, man, you can't love a child," I mean, like I make the comparison. Maybe it's not the same, but guys that are like, I like little ones, and this is I can't control the urge. I'm like, okay, I can control the urge not to punch you in the face. If I can control that insane urge to choke the shit out of you, you can do the same. You know, and it's like wanting to, I don't know, scream at a hipster for riding on a Vespa. That is such the urge I get when I see one, but I don't do it. I control myself, right? And these people, they always come up with the excuse of I can't control it. Well, then there's something else wrong. There are a lot of
Well,
things in society we have that we should be able to control. Our sexual urges, right? I mean, if there's somebody out there that loves rubbing peanut butter all over their body, and it's sexually turns them on, they control that urge until they get home, or maybe they just keep it in the back of their head. Not everything, because we're doing this in society today. We're putting everything out in the open, and it's what happened to shit just being in your house and staying there. Why does everything now have to be on camera and for everyone to see?
because social media, we've look, well, I'm not on camera exactly, but, being on camera, social media, people are used to putting everything out there, and we're teaching or allowing or giving a voice to people who want to put feels first. It's all about your feelings and how I feel. No, it isn't.
Right.
It is not. It is not. It is not. I'm not saying that feelings don't play into things, that, we don't all feel a certain kind of way about thing, but, you don't. A law is a law. It's black and white. It's not you don't interpret it based on your feelings today. And if you feel a law is wrong, "No, that's wrong." Okay, well, I'm sorry you feel that's wrong. That's called an opinion. It's not it's not called you don't get to change something.
Right.
Um, and we're seeing a lot of that in people having. I'm amazed at the number of, I hate to call them adults, but stuff I've seen, and again, it's on social media, and sometimes I wonder, it's like, is this real? Is there really people like this out there having screaming fits as an adult? I mean, like actual screaming fits and tantrums
That's bad.
because they're not getting their way, or because they disagree and they can't seem to cope with having a difference of an opinion with somebody, and they can't seem to discern the difference between fact and an opinion and law, things like that. It's like it's your feelings. And just because you scream about it doesn't mean it's going to change anything. But the problem is we are changing things because people are screaming and jumping down up and down about stuff.
Well, I
It,
think
it's a slippery slope, and we're just rolling right down the hill, I'm afraid. you
yes,
know
and I think things are, and being that you just said that, I think things are going to get a lot worse
oh
if
yeah.
Trump announces he's running for president. And listen, I'll say it 1,000 times. I'll say it until I'm blue in the face. I'm not a big fan of the man, especially being that like Operation Warp Speed and a couple other things he said about like Putin being his buddy and shit like that. I'm not a big fan of the dude, but I would, in a heartbeat, run out and get a T-shirt just to antagonize the liberals here in New York City. That's the only reason why I would wear this shirt, and that's legitimately to get into a fucking fight with whoever thinks that they're going to start one or test their skills against me, whatever it is. Um, I find it interesting that during Trump's first run at the White House, Trump supporters are getting beat up left and right? And people just couldn't allow themselves to look at the guy and go, all right, they're voting for that dude, that asshole, whatever it is, and walk away. No, they had to turn around, rip a person's shirt off, take the person's hat, uh, throw milk, water, whatever it was in a person's face if they were at a restaurant. This all got out of hand just because one man ran for president. So the fact that people can't even look at another person and go, all right, you know how many people voted for Bernie Sanders? I didn't feel like punching him in the face. There was never any kind of ill will if somebody voted for Biden or uh, Bernie Sanders or Hillary Clinton. It was just like, well, they're ill informed, and that was it. But
Right.
the left, can't do that anymore. They feel like they have to attack.
I think a lot of the left is, yeah. I think there's a whole lot of people. I feel like media. I feel pretty sure media blows things way out of proportion. And I'm saying this, and I could be way off here. I'm sure people in chat will let me know if I am, because I live in a more rural area, so I'm kind of in a bubble a little bit to a certain extent. Um, and I'm in Texas, so it's a little different here. But I have to wonder: is the media blowing it up and making it as if there are so many people who are just having, these meltdowns over Trump, when really is it that most of America really just doesn't want to be bothered, or doesn't feel that way? Necessarily one extreme or the other. Everyone's, maybe the majority is kind of down the middle and just.
I, I can answer.
Yeah, so do you kind of see where I'm going there? It's like,
Yeah.
is it really? Are we really? Because that's really all I see on the news a lot, or if I look at news, or if I turn on whatever, any kind of media outlet, mainstream media outlet, they're showing these like extremes. Of course, I expect to see the quote unquote, right wing or extreme right or what have you. But then there's also that on the left as well.
You're right.
And that seems to be what gets a lot of airtime, and people, oh my God, I can't believe that. I'm like, but is most of America really like that? Or most people who are Democrat or liberal, because there's a difference, are most people really like that? I mean, I'm sure there's a certain percentage, a certain amount of people who are, sure, but everyone, I don't know.
Well, listen, here in New York, yeah, people,
Yeah.
I've gotten enough arguments over, like supporting Trump, and that's arguments. I mean, no one has gone hands on. I know that most of the black community doesn't give a fuck. They just don't care. But if you go into the nice white neighborhoods of fucking the east side or west, upper west side, there's people out there that'll they'll let you know. And then when you tell them I'll smack the shit out of you, that ends the conversation pretty quickly. Uh, but because it's weird, the people who speak up, they're not like it's okay. So what was it, the Columbine shooting? No, the shooting with the little kids, the one that fucking Alex Jones in trouble for.
Oh, yeah, Sandy Hook.
Sandy Hook.
Yeah,
So that
yeah.
shooting happens, and I think a week later, maybe a couple days from that, I have a T-shirt that's an AR on the front, and I think it says like "Respect this freedom" or something to that. Now, so now, hey, listen, I just threw the shirt on. I walk out of the house. I go to the UPS store, and this guy's staring at it, and I'm like, "Oh God, he's gonna fucking say something." And I'm just sitting there like I'm not in the mood to argue with anybody or anything. But then he's like, he turns around, he's ready to walk out of that store. He's like, "You think that's appropriate wearing a shirt?" And I said, dude, I just put this shirt on. He said, did you see what happened at Sandy Hook? I go, yes. And he goes, those kids died because of a weapon like that. I'm like, it's a T-shirt, man. This shit's not jumping off my shirt and shooting people. I said, what happened
They
there?
die.
It sucked, but I said, let it go. He's like, you should be more conscious of what you. I said, you need to get the fuck out of here before I beat you and your fucking dog up because he had a little dog with him. And he was like, and he was like, he said, "What you?" I said, dude, I'm giving you. And I started counting backwards. And then the guy in the UPS store was like, sir, get out of here. And he's like, you're gonna lose my business. I'm like, he can fucking care less. And then I jumped at him, and he fucking scrambled to the door, and he bumped into the door, and then fucking scurried out like a fucking rat. Then when he got outside, he started screaming and yelling. I'm like, I'm not even gonna bother at that point because he's outside. But that was one, and then there was another Trump encounter where I mentioned something about like voting for Trump, and then the person was like, "Really?" And I'm like, "Who the fuck you talking to?" And then I turned around and walked away. So you get it here in the city, um,
Yeah,
and it's just it's amazing because the people who talk back to you are people who are not going to fucking fight. So I don't know why they would open their mouth in the first place because they know that it's going to
because they're
escalate.
expecting to be able to bully or to at
Right.
least, sometimes if you're some people, if they're loud, they have no intention of backing anything up or they know they can't, but they'll be loud. And a lot of times, a lot of people will be intimidated by someone who's just loud, just being loud. And
I
it's like,
get.
no,
But he was
no.
screaming on the other side of the door. I wasn't like, oh my God, stop screaming at me, woman. Because at that point he started screaming so loud, he sounded like a chick. I'm like, ma'am, who the fuck are you yelling at? And it was just. But again, he was on the other side of the door, and when
We had room to run then. I mean, he's on the sidewalk.
right, and that's the other thing. Like I mean, I know I could whip this guy's ass, so I'm not gonna play myself and go hands on with that kind of bullshit. Like I'm not. It would be like beating up a woman. At this point, this kind of guy would be like beating up a woman. So you just don't go hands on. You leave people like that alone. You let him scream
Yeah,
and yell. I just wanted him out of the store. Once he got out of the store, he could have said what he wants. People like them, the skinny, weak liberals, they scream and yell all the time, and you're just like, dude, really, fucking grow up and get out of here. It sucks because in the city, I'm fighting with criminals and now I'm fighting with liberals. So I can't win. Uh, if me and him were getting into a debate, entirely different story. But we weren't getting into a debate. He was like, trying to be a social justice warrior about my T-shirt. I'm like, dude, it's a fucking T-shirt. I threw it on and I'm sitting here explaining it to him, and I'm like, why am I explaining myself to this guy? But yeah, I see that 10 times worse now because people are legitimately going hands on when they're in a group. There's a group of liberals, they're going to sit there and pick on a Trump supporter or just a Republican, or now the new term, Republican extremist, that they're trying to use. Um,
wow. I
yeah,
haven't heard that one.
well, some guy killed this kid, ran him over, and thought he
Oh,
was a Republican extremist. And now that's
oh
a term
God.
that they're going to start using, right? The
Of course
president
it is.
right? The president of the United States called MAGA supporters or MAGA extremists, as they put it, a threat to America,
Yeah.
right? So we're all essentially uh, we're watching history repeat itself. Hitler went down the same road when he started fucking throwing Jews under the bus. in his speeches to the nation of Germany, and then you started seeing that hate, that rhetoric build up, and then that happened. Now, I am not saying they're going to start throwing us in concentration camps, but I am saying we're going to see more attacks on Republicans and conservatives, especially if Trump runs for 2024.
Do you think we'd see it even if Trump doesn't run, though? Because I don't know if he'll run. I don't know. I don't know if he'll announce it. I thought he already had, but then someone had said no, he didn't, or he hinted that he was going to, but that's why they're trying to, the thing with Mar-a-Lago and all this crap. They're trying to keep him from being able to run and blah blah blah.
They're
But
trying
yeah,
to be busy.
even if he doesn't, I mean, there's still DeSantis is out there. I think he's probably got a decent shot at it.
He definitely has a
But
shot.
yeah.
But
Oh yeah.
even if he doesn't run, I mean, will we see anything? I don't know. I don't think people have that much hate for DeSantis like they do for Trump. They're two different
Mm-mm,
people.
no.
And so, if that's the case, if people are looking, if Trump does announce, we're definitely going to see more shit. If DeSantis announces, I don't think we're going to see much.
I could see DeSantis announcing and Trump throwing his support behind him or saying that he
I,
endorses him or something like that.
I
I
see that.
could see that happening,
Yeah.
and that would keep him out because I mean, he's become, I hate to say he's become divisive, but he's been made into something divisive. I think politics is just, man, this last freaking election, ever since Trump was in office, before then, definitely, but it just seemed to explode, you
Well,
know, it
Obama
just
started
exploded.
Obama started the whole thing. Obama was setting up the powder keg with his bullshit with supporting BLM, with
Yeah.
siding with a outwardly racist group in America. Therefore, in turn, letting more morons pop up, KKK, white fucking supremacy parties, whatever they are, and them popping up and starting their shit. And then you had Obama then calling just regular fucking white dudes who want fucking America to be America again, who had black people in their groups, Proud Boys, and labeling them racist. So now you had a president who started dividing the country before Trump came into office. And when Trump came into office, the powder keg went off. Um, we have presidents are not supposed to be divisive, right? And it started with Obama, and now we have Biden doing the same thing. I don't recall ever seeing Trump on stage telling people that the left is a danger to the nation or that Democrats. Well, he did say Democrats are going to destroy the country, and he was right. But you never heard
Yeah.
him single out groups and talk about how they're bad for this nation or how we should deal with them, as Biden's saying and other Democrats are saying. They're putting people on the spotlight and they're winding up getting people to act on it, like this guy did just a week ago.
Are we going to see people acting on it more in 20? Okay, so most people I've talked to think with the midterms coming up, no matter which way it goes, there's going to be some shenanigans. Something's going to happen. Somebody, one side or the other, or whoever, people are going to be pissed off. So I would be very surprised if we don't see some kind of bullshit happen after November this year. As far as presidential election, I feel like we're really going to see something happen there. I hate
Well,
to say that, but I really feel like, because I feel like it's been building. I feel like the media has been already building up a little bit, planting that notion in people's heads of, oh, it's going to be, contentious, and it's going to be this and it's going to be that. I'm like, why would you say this years ahead of time if you're not already trying to, you know, get people to go and plant that seed in everyone's head of, you should be angry now. You need to go ahead and get ready to start some crap. You should
well,
be ready to do something.
yes, and interestingly brought that up because I think a couple days ago, what's his name, Bill Gates stated that we will see a civil war and there will be a hung election. Now, I've never heard anybody predict a hung election ever,
I haven't either.
right? And the fact that he said it was a red flag in my head. I was like, whoa, why the fuck would he say
If there was, yeah, a hung election would be
that?
I don't know. Yeah, that would kick off something for sure.
And that would be very, very interesting. But
That could be the start of, I hate to say the term balkanization, but some sort of division within the US.
I
That could
think so.
possibly,
I,
yeah.
but the fact that my what caught me, it was the fact that he said we will. He didn't say might. He didn't say maybe, which he would have said might and maybe, and I would have been like, all right, I can see where that connects.
Right.
But the fact that he said we will, he said we will in a couple other cases years ago in regards to a pandemic. He said we will in a couple years ago in regards to the arm ticket. And now here
Mhm.
we are with both.
Right.
So the guy, not that he's like Nostradamus, but he is sitting with the elites and he is sitting with the people who are pushing the buttons.
Exactly. I was
So,
gonna say, it's not like, he probably isn't besties with, Klaus or
right.
whoever else, right? So,
So, and
interesting. Yeah, I'd not seen that. Huh.
yeah, I'll send you the article later after this. It's a
Yeah.
bunch of articles actually. It's not just one. But the fact that he said that, I'm just like, what the fuck, man? Like, you know, it's something to keep in the back of your head. And one part of me is like, whatever, man. I'm ready for that too. Whatever the fuck they throw at us, I'm ready for. I'm ready to dance whatever mumbo jumbo they throw at us because at this point, it's too many things to sit there and go, worry about nuclear, worry about civil war. There are a couple things that are like I want to happen just because it's time. Um, the listen, the idiots out here, they're believing everything they're told, everything. And
Yeah.
there doesn't matter what we say, doesn't matter what proof we could provide. They want to hear what they want to hear, and that's dangerous because if you provide proof for them, and they're still fucking running around spewing bullshit like Stacey Adams saying that fetuses don't have heartbeats. What the fuck? How is this idiot going to make a statement like that when we all know fetuses have heartbeats? Right?
Stacey Abrams?
Yes, the
Yeah.
black chick, right?
Yeah, Stacey Abrams.
Yeah, she's an asshole. She's a piece of shit. Fuck her. But not the point. The point is that she's running with rhetoric that is dangerous because now people, you're going to hear them start repeating that. You're going to hear them, well, fetuses don't have heartbeats. Now you're having doctors go, whoa, wait a minute, lady. We backed you up on the arm ticket bullshit. We backed you up on this, but that's crossing the line. But you got to, it's an article that came out again, probably about a week ago. I looked at it and I ignored it, and then it came up again. And I read it, and I'm like, this lady's a fucking asshole.
People need to there's always gonna be people who don't wanna think for themselves and will accept whatever they see on the news or whatever talking head tells them as the gospel, There's always gonna be people like that. What I can't understand is I keep saying the last 2 to 2.5 years because there's been so fucking much that's happened. How can you not question things? How can you not look into things on your own? There's so much information available now, and there's so much, especially after the frickin' CDC and the arm ticket, and now things that are coming out and they're like, well, maybe it doesn't work, maybe we were wrong. Why aren't people thinking? This is rhetorical. Why aren't people thinking for the damn selves and asking questions and going, oh, hey, like her, she says, oh, they don't have heartbeats. Yeah, exactly. Prepping by faith. Men cannot have babies.
Right, right.
I mean,
And that's the thing.
biological men cannot have babies. No.
Yeah, listen, I just say men can't have babies because we're not even going to play the game of the psych who were sitting there, talking about like the guy on he's all over the internet now. He's like, I don't understand why I can't breastfeed. I'm like, well,
Yeah, I've seen that video. That's really,
it's disturbing
yeah,
because
yeah,
he's legitimately upset that the baby's not latching on because he doesn't want a hairy nipple in his mouth. I don't fucking know. You figure it out. But the psych patients, like I
there's
said last
some,
week, they're running the fucking insane asylum. They are fucking out of control. And what I mean, and we sit here and we play to it and we use terms like, well, you know what? Maybe biological. No, men can't have fucking babies, period. And not for nothing, but a lot of transgender men, women pretending to be men, can't have babies because of the meds they're on, right?
right, exactly. If you're taking testosterone and all that stuff, you're not going to be able to stopped menses. Yep.
Right. Exactly. So
Um,
you have all of those. So again, even they can't have babies. Now, some of them stop their
right,
so that they can get pregnant. But now they have all that crap in their body, the hormones and shit.
right.
The guy who wanted the baby to attach to him, he had hormones in his body, and he was
Hmm.
passing it on. Um, he's passing it through the baby because he's using an injection to produce a hormone to produce milk.
Right.
The milk is tainted with all of that shit in it. So again, with the societal collapse happening, How far do you think this societal collapse is going to go before we go, oh shit, we got to pull back the reins, or let it completely go?
Jeez.
Mustaches. My mother's spark. Is that a joke? I hope that's a joke.
What's that?
He
I didn't
said,
see.
babies are going to come out with mustaches. I read it wrong. I said babies are coming out with mustaches. I'm like, what?
Like, really? I want to see a picture of that.
I know. I was like, yo, fucking upload the picture, man.
Circus babies, what?
Yeah. Bush Doctor Survival. Do me a favor. Email me at angryprepper@gmail.com. I've been watching his name all day, and I'm like, I've been meaning
Yeah,
to slip that in there. Uh,
he's fun. Yeah, you like him.
yeah. I watched. I think I watched one or two of his videos the other day, like for the first time. And I know him; he's been around. And I watched one
Yeah.
or two of his videos. I'm like, oh, this guy's pretty cool. So, yeah, I
Yeah,
want.
you two would have the medical thing in common, so
Yes, right.
yeah.
That's where that's where I was like, oh, okay, this guy's fucking on a level. Uh, but what
So
you
as far as the societal collapse, so if it's gonna go, I mean, I'm of the opinion that once it starts to go, I don't think there's gonna be pulling the reins back and stopping it. I think it's gonna go.
yeah,
Because if we've learned anything the last few years, I mean, something I learned, it's so when I got into survival and preparedness, I was always told, and then I've always had it in my head that things happen quickly. Things will happen quickly. When it starts to happen, it's going to happen fast, and you won't have time to do X, Y, or Z. Don't think you're going to run to the Walmart and go stock up because that's not going to happen, all that kind of thing. And it really, I really saw that in 2020 when people were going, holy shit, and ran to the stores. Stuff got wiped out fast. Things happened really quickly, a lot faster than I thought they would, even thinking, oh, it'll be quick or people won't be people won't be on the up and up. They won't know, or they'll be slow to accept it or to get on board or see what's happening. No, that may have been true 30 years ago or 20 some odd years ago when there wasn't really social media, but now with smartphones and all this crap, everyone knows everything immediately. Everything happens quickly.
yeah,
So I don't know. I just think that I think there's a whole lot of people gonna be like, you know what? Fuck it, let it go. Don't pull it back. If something starts to slide, it's going to happen. If it's sliding and it's going, whether it's the economy or whatever, I think it's going to go.
yeah.
I mean, I think it would be almost easier to let it go and then try and rebuild.
Well, it's like a
I
house.
mean, it's like if you try and pull the reins on it, there's, I don't know how successful that would be. I don't know.
It was
I don't know that that would work. I don't think it would work. I
no,
don't think you could stop it.
not at all. It's like a bad house, right? It's like a house
Yeah.
that's just completely destroyed and damaged. What do you do? Do you try to fix it, or do you knock it down and rebuild? You knock it down and rebuild, right? It's normally the cheaper, easier way. I think we are approaching that point, but
I mean,
I
you're just prolonging what's going to inevitably happen.
right,
You're just slowing it down. You're not really stopping it.
right. But what I also noticed too, not noticed, but somebody made a good point, and his name was it Tim Cast, Tim Pool? I think it's Tim Pool.
Tim Pool, and he's got Tim
Right.
Cast at the channel, I
Cast
think.
IRL or some shit like that. Right. He talked
Yep.
about a story when he was in Brazil a few years back, and he remembered that the people there that he was staying with were like extremely poor, like out of this world poor, and
Mhm.
the grandmother that was there, was asking him a question about like he was complaining about America, I guess, to his friend, and then she overheard, or the son translated to her, and she goes, "You guys are the richest country. You guys are running water. You have food on the shelves. You have all this stuff. Like, what do you guys have to complain about?" And and in that part, it brought it into perspective of all the other places in this world that have it way the fuck worse than we do, way worse. So
Yeah.
one part of me tries to pull it back now, because I'm like, all right, yeah, we have a lot of things we are seeing happening, but is it because we have it better than other people that we're delaying our response to heading off what's coming this way, or are we spoiled and want it all? Right?
I
It's
think we're spoiled.
I think we're slightly spoiled. I think
I
there's a
think we are.
slight spoiledness to our behavior. But when you watch freedom of speech and Second Amendment go, and you've seen it in those other countries, that are now super poor, that are now struggling, I think that's why we complain. So we head that off. Because if we're trying to calculate certain situations so we don't end up like them, so we don't end up like Venezuela, I think, I think we have to look at it both ways. We have to check ourselves and make sure we're not being spoiled and complaining about shit, but we also have to look at other countries that had similar freedoms, lost it, and now look at where they are.
Well, and that's the thing, though. The majority of society is not going to look at other countries because they can't generally look beyond themselves, which sounds really crappy, but it's true. I think in preparedness and survival, we get used to looking, we're used to questioning things and looking for information, and we see this, but I mean, general, general everyday society, not so much. They're not going to say, oh, what happened in Venezuela? Oh, well, that was them. That's not here. We're different.
Right.
We're not like that. We're a first world nation. That's never going to happen here. I see that so many times. That's not going to happen here. It's the US. We're a first world nation. I'm like, yeah, until we aren't, you know. And we've been in a long, slow slide for, some people would argue, for a lot longer than the last 2.5 years, but at least for the last couple of years. I
Yeah.
would, a lot of people have told me no, longer than that, and yeah, I would agree. But I would say, for the sake of argument and for anyone new to preparedness, let's say from at least 2020. It
Yeah.
picked up speed anyway.
Yeah, definitely. It definitely did. It definitely went down a fucking rabbit hole that it's funny that a lot of people saw coming. I saw part of this coming, and some of it I just didn't. I mean, the pandemic, I thought it was going to be worse. I didn't think it was going to be this light bullshit they released and then told people, oh my God, so many people are dying from it. And then, yeah, people died from it, but I thought it was going to be a hell of a lot worse.
We
Uh,
thought it was gonna be like, movies, people are falling over in the street, especially
right.
after I saw what in the hell was going on. They're welding people into their homes in China, and I was like, oh shit, this is about to get like really real. And yeah, and then when that didn't happen, people were like, yeah, whatever. Nobody took it seriously. Not, I mean, a lot of people did, but
Oh,
on the whole, at least where I am, people were like, whatever, you
yeah,
know.
here in New York City, they took it dead serious. They took it to a point where a guy yelled at me for not wearing my mask on the subway. And again, he yelled at me on his way out of and I saw the guy eyeballing me the whole ride. I'm like, God damn it, what the
When you just know, it's like, here we go.
yeah, like, and I knew he was gonna scream at me, and I was just like, whatever. I'm not gonna. Again, it was an older guy, he was built like
Yeah.
a fucking 16-year-old schoolgirl. I said I'm not gonna I'm not even gonna engage. It wasn't worth it. And he was like, you should put a mask on as he lowered his mask to yell at me. And then I
Yeah,
looked,
of course.
oh,
Yeah.
whatever, dude. And I
It's always
just
the ones that couldn't wear their mask properly to begin with.
yeah, and then he's yelling at me as he. I was just like, I was like, okay. And I looked at him and I looked away. I didn't even like stare him down and none of that bullshit. I just looked at him. I was like, I looked away, and then he yelled. He said something else, but I couldn't hear him because I put my music back on. But it's I don't know, man. The divide and the problems that we're seeing. I think that's the goal. I think the goal is to divide us socially, because unless they do some crazy shit like release something I mean, horrendously bad, which I don't think they will, because I think, and this is me being a little naive, I think they have an understanding that if they release something worse that got away from them, this would backfire and hurt them too. So they came out with something that wasn't as bad. Again, that's my theory on the matter. But who knows, man? Who the fuck knows what they have in store for us down the line? Because apparently there's more shit waiting in the pipe.
Yeah, I saw something recently where they've supposedly have discovered that there's another variation or whatever in the bats. I'm like, why is it in the bats
Yeah,
that is resistant to the arm ticket? And I'm like, well, it all seems to be pretty resistant to the arm ticket to begin with anyway. So,
yeah, really.
you know,
Lie to the public again, and now some people are waking up and going, like I've been breaking uh, one of my kids' school's balls. They've been sending emails every time someone is infected, and I'm like, calm down, the war's over, And then they report
yeah,
back to me, it's school policy. I'm like, relax, it's okay, you will survive. So like I'm at this point, I'm being an obnoxious asshole about it, but yeah, it's people are being lied to, and one email came over today, and they're like, make sure that you get your kids the arm ticket. It'll stop the spread. I'm like, funny. Most of those kids are have the arm ticket and are still getting sick and spreading it. Interesting. You're like, and no reply as of today.
And a
But
lot of them are injured by the, or have been injured by, or let me see, have gotten sick from the arm ticket, where it's caused injury. If you've heard
really,
about any of that. Oh yeah, yeah. There's a lot of people who've gotten the arm candy and adverse reactions and um, have had issues because of that,
right? No,
because of the arm ticket. Yeah.
no, yeah. I've had a couple
So
buds that are currently sick, and one guy who is out still out of the firehouse because of this. So
yeah, a lot more people than we realize.
yeah,
Yeah,
more people.
because that's not in the media. Nobody knows about that.
No, they wouldn't. They don't want to put that, and they stopped putting that in there. Actually, they actually stopped reporting. Rapture ready. Thank you. Appreciate it. All right, ma'am. Well, listen, this actually flew by pretty damn fast.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah. Thank you for actually. Thank you for coming on. I do
Thanks
appreciate.
for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah. So, guys, again, you heard level-headed. Uh, Again, her channel
Try
is
to be.
spot on, and she's smart, as you guys can see. So, this is a
Mm.
channel I would absolutely advise you guys to subscribe to. So, do yourself a favor, subscribe to her channel. You're not going to regret it. Also, guys, let's talk prepping. Linda, you can also, for those of you that haven't subscribed to her channel, please subscribe to her channel. Let's try to get her to 700 before tomorrow. If you guys can do that solid. We'll try to get her to 1,000. That would be nice. But let's start baby steps. Let's get her to 700. But anyway, with that being said, guys, some of us are going to head over to the Angry Truth channel. Kathleen, yes, I heard about Coolio dying. My wife was like, "You think it was the
What?
ticket?" Yeah, Coolio's dead.
You? Oh shit.
Yeah, right. Gangster Paradise.
Yeah.
That's what he is now. But not the not the point. Uh,
Jesus.
right. Too soon. But yeah, we were saying the same thing because I think the cause of death was cardiac arrest
Oh
at
wow.
59 years old.
Yeah, as I say, he wasn't very old.
Yeah, yeah. So with that, yeah. So guys, do me a favor. Also, on your way out, hit the thumbs up or the thumbs down, whatever floats your boat. I On Angry Truth, I'm going to talk about the cuntiness I've been seeing with YouTubers. It's fucking insane, and not YouTubers, subscribers. That's insane. Because I
Yeah.
noticed people were complaining, about your doll picture and fucking. I'm like, really, guys, grow the fuck up, you know? So,
People, I've been saying for a while, it's like people. I think Viking Preparedness said it, and I picked it up somewhere. I don't know if it was from him or what. People behaving badly. People are getting nuts in person in real life, but on social media, it's like no holds barred. People have been really shitty,
yeah,
and I'm looking at preparedness community too as a whole. It's like not everybody, but there's a lot of people that have just. And I'm like, are you not dealing with what's going on? Because it's stressful, but Jesus, calm down. You
yeah,
know,
no. I tell you, you know what? That people unsubscribe from me. I lost. I don't know. I forgot how many people, a few hundred over the whole Putin thing, but I got that. I understood that, and I was fine with it.
right?
But I actually lost subscribers because I haven't moved out of the city fast enough. Go figure that one out.
Oh my god,
That's crazy.
how dare you? How
Yeah.
dare you,
How dare
Jason?
you stay in New York? You fucking asshole. You deserve to
Well, you
die.
gotta
Like,
turn the camera on from somewhere else in your house and be like, "Hey, we moved."
we
Just put like a
moved. Yeah.
different backdrop. Yep, here we are.
Here we are. I'm in
Like,
Kansas. Yeah, I'll lie. And then,
put a cactus in the picture and be like, "I'm in Texas."
and then you have somebody,
Yeah,
where in Texas are you? I know that cactus. Meanwhile, I'm not even there. So yeah. It's incredible what people will unsubscribe from me from. It really is.
yeah,
I get when I
it's
make fucking comments that piss people off. I understand that, but when
right.
you tell me, oh, I'm unsubscribing from you because you think Putin's the bad guy, I'm like, I didn't even. It. Okay, whatever. Go to
He
bed.
isn't.
Go to bed. Always wants to. Anyway, not the point. So, with that,
Bedtime.
guys, I have to head over to the Angry Truth channel. I will see you guys in about 1 minute. Ma'am, thank you for joining me tonight. I appreciate it, and I will have you on again with the ladies' night thing.
Oh, awesome! Thank you. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Hold on.